I'm going to start the video out with shotguns because as we go from right to left, I start to get more variants, and people tend to use the shotguns less than they do the rifles. But the combat shotgun, I don't have any variants for that. I don't have any for the drilling, but I've got 3 for the toggle. I'm going to start off with the dynamo. If I had to put 2 attachments on this, I'd run steady aim and advanced rifling. If I had to pick a third, I'd run extended mag. And I'm not going to put any camos on this weapon so you can see what the actual variant looks like. You can see this gun is pretty jacked up. He's got tape on the front of it and the wood looks kind of splintered. And this is probably my least favorite shotgun. This thing pretty much never one-shots, and I'm trying to get everything diamond, so this thing's a pain. Next we have the flag top. And this gun pretty much has the same weapon model as the Enigma, it's just really rusted. And then lastly we've got the Enigma 2, the heroic version. And the only difference between this one and the epic version is this one's a little bit cleaner. It's more pristine and shiny and stuff like that. And lastly we have the Crusader for the sawed-off shotgun. You can do a set for this one. And I completed the set just because I opened boxes and unlocked everything for this. I don't have any attachments for this, but if I did, I'd run steady aim and advanced rifling. And then lastly, I'd probably just run quick draw if I have to pick a third. But this thing looks pretty cool. This is probably one of the better shotguns up there with the combat shotgun. But I really hate how slow that animation is for the reload. Even if you have hustle, it's really not that fast. Now it's time for the sniper rifles. We have the Korriban Husky 2. This was one of my first heroic pulls out of supply drops. And I'd probably run 4 times optic with the ballistic calibration, and if I had to pick a third, I'd go with FMJ. This thing is almost like an AR. You can spray a lot of shots downrange. There's really no recoil and very little sway, if any at all. This is one of my favorite snipers, and I didn't think I'd actually run this gun that much, but when I was going for diamond camo on these snipers, it was actually really fun to use. This is an inspection of the weapon. Next is the Lee Enfield, and I do not have a variant for this weapon. The M1903, I do have the Ranger unlocked for this, but I don't have the weapon unlocked, so I'm going to skip that. And moving on to the Kar 98, we have the variant that you unlock for maxing out your mountain division, and that is the Fallen. I'd probably run ballistic calibration with FMJ, and if I could pick an extra, I'd probably run extended mag. You can see this is just really rustic, and he's got a pad on the front of it. And I believe you can get a heroic version of this weapon if you pull it in a supply drop, and it just looks way cleaner. Next we have the light machine guns. And for the Lewis, I have the Landship. You get this for reaching rank 10 social rank. And this is one of my favorite variants that I've got because it takes the iron sights and it makes it actually pretty amazing. It takes the bar completely off of the top, and it's kind of intrusive for your immediate peripherals. So without that, it's just really clean, as you can see. I can't wait to have to grind for headshots for this gun because I feel like it's going to be pretty easy. Next we have the MG15. We've got the Blade and Shorty 2, and I'm pretty sure you can get the Blade 2 out of supply drops, but we just have the Blade, so I'll show you that. But this one's pretty clean as well. I feel like the iron sights are pretty good on this one, pretty solid. Now I'll show you my heroic version for the MG15. It is the Shorty 2. This is one of the cleaner variants that I have. And down where the trigger is, that actually looks just like a pistol grip. It's just more of a compact version of it. And as you can see when we ADS, I don't really like these iron sights. I don't like the color, and I don't like how much is going on there. Kind of just is going to throw me off more than anything. When it comes to the Bren, I don't have any variants for this weapon, but I've gotten 2 for the MG42. This one you can get for ranking up your armor division to max level, and then the zipper is completed by a set, which I did complete. All I needed for this was a pistol grip, I think, so I went for it, just to have something to use when I grind for headshots for this weapon. But I'll show you the Devil's Piano first. If I had to run attachments on this weapon, I'd probably run quick draw with steady aim, and then a reflex or an ACOG as my third attachment. And you can see this gun just looks really, really banged up. Got rust all on the top of it. I'm not sure if there's a more pristine version of this in drops, but probably. That seems to be how it goes for these. This thing has really low recoil and a really high fire rate. It's an awesome gun. And now the zipper. This kind of looks like a more compact version of the MG42, and I really like that barrel. Alright, now we're starting to get to the better weapons in the game. We've got the grease gun, and we've got 2 for the grease gun, the Roxy and the Brandy. I got both of these from supply drops. And you can see this gun looks nothing like its picture. If I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run rapid fire and advanced rifling, with the third being steady aim. And you can see this gun looks really messed up. It looks like after the war it just sat in mud and water for years, and then someone came across it. You can really see that fine finish underneath though. And that is the Roxy. And now I'll show you one of the weapon variants that I like a little more than others in this game. It is the Brandy. And I like this variant so much because the iron sights actually change on this. And you can see they're just really crispy. You don't even need a grip for this gun. It's a laser beam. For the PPSH, we've gotten 2, the Snake 2 and then Duck Soup. The Snake 2, I actually had a really good game uploaded to my channel in war. I got 122 kills with this weapon, and we'll show you this one first. This is a heroic variant. If I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run steady aim with advanced rifling, and then the third being extended mag. And you can see this thing is just gorgeous. Look at that wood finish with that chrome. Looks amazing. And that is the Snake 2. And next we have the Duck Soup. This variant does change the iron sights, as does the Snake 2. Not too different from the original though. For the Type 100 we have Blue Sky. And you can see not much changes from the regular gun to this gun. I think the main difference is that wooden grip on the bottom. But if I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run rapid fire with advanced rifling, and then the third being extended mag. You can see the iron sights are exactly the same. But you don't even need a grip for this weapon. It comes built into the variant. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't actually do anything. But this gun doesn't need a grip. It is a laser. and that is Blue Sky. Moving on to the WW28, I only have one variant for this weapon called the Soggy, and this is going to be your spray and play submachine gun. If I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run steady aim with grip, and the third being extended mag. And you can see this thing looks pretty gross. It looks like a medieval crossbow and they just put a chamber on it and called it a gun. You can see the etchings and the grip has a rose there on the side of it. But yeah, this is basically the gun that you put steady aim on and just spray from the hip. And now we are on to the Thompson. When you reach rank 6 social rank, you do get a free variant for this weapon called the Wilco. And if I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run steady aim with grip, and then the third being either extended mag or advanced rifling. This gun looks pretty nice. I'm not sure, but they may have a more pristine version of this in drops. But I really like the way this variant looks. If you tap fire this gun at range, you can melt at all kinds of ranges. This is a really solid gun. Probably one of my more favorite submachine guns that you can use. I think my top 3 are probably the PPSH, the MP40, and then this thing. And the last gun for the submachine guns, the MP40, I do not have a variant for this yet. Now here are the variants that I've been waiting for. Starting off with the Johnson rifle. This is probably the most slept on gun in the game. I love this gun. And we'll show you the battle watch first because this is the one I don't like as much. I run the reflex sight with the grip, and then the third one I either run high cal or extended mag. I'll show you with high cal. And then I run the crispy dot on this. This is a really high fire rate weapon, all purpose, has really good hip fire, really good range, and you can melt with this thing at all kinds of range if you can learn the recoil pattern of this gun. But this is one of my favorite guns in the game. I feel like a lot of people sleep on this. Next we have the Jawbreaker. I did do the set for this weapon, and I needed to buy one of the more pricey items for this, but I really like this gun and I like the way this looks, so I think I spent around $1,400 for a calling card to get this, but I'm happy with that. If I'm going to use this weapon, then this is the variant I'm going to use right here, and that is the Jawbreaker. For the M1 I have the Frontline. And this one has way better iron sights. I'll show you that first. But look at how good those are. Those are clean. But if I had to run 2 attachments, I'd run the reflex and a grip on the stock version of this weapon. And then for the third, I'd run high cal. And then I'll show you it with a crispy dot. You can see this weapon looks like it's got some welding and some engravements on it. But this is a really solid looking variant. Gotta love that reload sound. I do not have a variant for the STG44 yet, but for the M1A1 Carbine I do have 2, and I'll show you the body snatcher first. If I had to run 2 attachments on this, I'd run reflex or ACOG and then a quick draw, and the third being high cal. And you can see this weapon looks like it really did belong to somebody. It's got Mary Eat It sketched into the side right there. Looks like it's been used a lot, and I think it even has a little bit of mud on it. But this thing's a laser beam. Doesn't really kill fast, but you won't have to worry about running a grip or much recoil for this weapon. And we have the Bug Juice. And the reason why I like this variant is because it does change the iron sights from the stock version. And as you can see, you don't really need a reflex for this version. But if I did have the stock version, I'd probably run a reflex or an ACOG on there. And I'll show you what it looks like with that on it. Next we have one of my favorite guns in the game, the FG42, and I have the revised version. There is a revised 2 that you can get from supply drops, but all I did was complete the set for this version. But I'd run the reflex with the grip, and then the third I'd run either extended mag or steady aim. And would you look at that. Super, super clean. And that is one of my favorite variants in the game, the revised FG42. For the bar, I don't have any variants for this weapon. I'm pretty sure the only way to get a variant is through a supply drop. But lastly, we have the SVT, and I've got one for this, and it happens to be heroic. And we'll show you this. This thing is really clean. You see the chrome on it and the wood handle. And that's it, guys. Those are all the weapon variants that I have right now. I'll do another video maybe a month or so down the road when weapons come into the game and more variants come in the game. I'll do an update. If you like this kind of thing, go ahead and leave the video a like, subscribe, and come back for more Call of Duty World War II, and I'll see you in my next video.